So from previous sections, the highest power of I that we've seen is I squared. However, there will be times where you will see I that has a power higher than 2. So for this section, we are going to learn how to simplify the power of i's when they're larger than 2. So for example 1, we want to simplify the complex number I to the 27th as much as possible. So when doing this, so what do we know? We know that I squared is equal to -1, right? So what are we going to do? So for this, we know that I squared is -1, so we want to kind of rewrite this so we have an even power. So how am I going to rewrite this? This is going to be I to the 26th times I. And this is the same as this because this is I to the first. Since they are the same base, I can add the exponents. So 26 plus I, that's 27. So this is the equivalent form. This is equivalent. Okay, so now let's look at this I to the 26th. For I to the 26th, we know that I squared is 1, right? But for this, so we want to rewrite this so I can have a squared over here. So what do we know about the exponent, the power to a power rule? We know that if we have a power to the AB, this is equal to x to the A to the B, right? So essentially, so let me actually take a step back from here. We want to write this as, so we want our A to be 2, and we want to find our B. So 2 times what is equal to 30 is to equal to 26. That is 13. 2 times 13 is 26. And then bring down our I. So now we can write this as I squared to the 13th times I. Right? So what do we know about I squared? I squared is -1. So now we're going to talk about -1 to the 13th and then bring down this I. Right? So -1 to the 13th. So a negative number to an odd power. So negative A to, like 2n plus 1. So this is how you write an odd number. This is always going to be equal to a negative number. Right? If you don't believe me, you are more than welcome to take -1. You can multiply -1 to itself 13 times, right? But then you will see that this is -1, right? Even if it's like -1 to the 3rd power, -1 to the 101st power, anything, it's going to be negative. And then we know 1 times itself is 1. Or, yeah, just 1 times 1 times 1 is 1. Right? And then we have I. So now, -1 times I, what is that? That's -I. And so, I to the 27th, when we simplify it, we get -I. After seeing that example, some of you may be tempted to, if you have I to an odd power, you're going to want to say it's -I. But that's not always the case, and that's why I will do this second example to show you why you always have to take those steps to simplify I. So first things first, I want to look at the power. The power is odd. Since it is odd, I want to break this up so I can have an even exponent. So one thing I didn't do in example 1, which I'll probably do now so you guys can see it a little more clearly. 25, that is also 24 plus 1. And what do we know about the multiplication property? We know if we have the same base, the A times to the B is equal to x, A plus B, assuming that x, they have the common base. So over here we have A plus B, and so what does that mean? This can be rewritten as I to the 24th times I. So we're just using this kind of backwards. using the power to a power property again. So I have I, and I want to do 2 times something. So, or 2 times something is equal to 24, and that would be 12. Right? And then I can rewrite this as I squared to the 12th times I. I squared, we know that is -1. And then -1 to the 12th power. So when we multiply a negative number to an even power, it will always end up positive. Right? If you don't believe me, test it out. So -1 to the 12th power is +1, 1 times I, and so 1 times I is I. Right? And this is our solution. As you can see, we did not get -I. So make sure you follow these steps when solving. Right? And this is the end of our topics today. I know they were quite a bit, but yeah, make sure if you have any questions, feel free to ask me. So, and you guys have a nice day.